Emotions are byproducts of the mind. So, if we need to understand what creates the mind and what determines our thoughts and our emotions, we need to understand that, first of all, what is a human? Now, there are three different interpretations of what a human is. We have science, we have religion, and we have spirituality. Science says that a human being is the brain and the body, the mind and the body. Science says that we are the mind, body, and spirit, or the soul. And spirituality says that we are the mind, the body, and consciousness. Now, if you're to look at these factors, you understand that science can neither accept nor deny the presence of the soul. Why can't science accept the presence of the soul? It can't deny it because it can't prove whether it exists or doesn't. It can't measure it, so there's no way to determine if it's there. But we are able to measure our own emotions and our own mental state by the impact it has in our lives. We experience it. We have a conscious experience of our emotions. So science accepts its existence. However, it's very difficult for science to accept the existence of the soul because how many of us have a conscious experience of our own souls? How many of us have the conscious experience of the effect that consciousness and a change in consciousness has in our lives? It makes it very difficult for science to accept it as a possibility. But what brings us to the attention of spirit and the soul? What major life event guides us back to that nature and makes us question our very reality, the fundamentals of who we are? Death. Dying. That we understand, we start to question human life when we question human death. Now, what is death? Science still doesn't quite understand why people die or why people even age. There's no reason for aging. There's no real reason for death, and yet it is a natural process of life. If you're to look at someone who has died, you understand that everything within the body stops functioning. Science is able to see this and recognize it, and so science is able to then take these organs and transplant them into a living human being, like the eyes, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver. And then magically, they start functioning again. So science has actually hypothesized something, that there must be some kind of factor X that operates the brain, which is also an organ, as well as the rest of the body, that is present in a living body, but is not present in a dead body. And it calls this factor X because it can't call it the soul, right? It starts to merge into spirituality and religion, and we know the conflict between those two. Now, if we look at this in the perspective of religion, we see that this is the presence and absence of spirit, of the soul. And spirituality recognizes it as the presence and absence of consciousness. Now, if we were to accept this factor X as possibly being the soul, what does that mean? That means that in order to operate and get full efficiency out of the functioning of the human body, the mental body and the emotional body, we need to have an effect on the brain. And the thing that orchestrates the organ and the functioning of that organ is ultimately the soul. There is nothing on this planet available today that is capable of empowering the soul. There is no modality, there is no drug, there is no therapy, there is no essential oil or crystal you can rub on your body that can empower your soul and raise your consciousness.